Alright. I love that the loading icon is a little watch. It's hilarious. So, the secret of Monkey Island. And there's our main Guybrush. I love that the lookout is blind. That's great. Flooring inspector. The Scum Bar. So that's actually a joke. Scum, S-C-U-M-M, you'll notice it was all in caps. Because it's actually an acronym for Script Creation Utility for Maniac Mansion. I will list a jingle here. Yeah, so Scum, Script Creation Utility for Maniac Mansion. So it's actually the engine that Ron Gilbert wrote for Maniac Mansion for the Commodore 64, which is pretty sweet. So he actually created one of the first game engines for the Commodore 64 and the 6502 microprocessor, but he designed it in such a way that the engine itself could be ported. Re-elect Governor Marley. When there's only one candidate, there's only one choice. That's great. So yeah, the game engine could be ported, and then they also made many games off of that engine. Maniac Mansion, this game, The Secret of Monkey Island, Loom, Monkey Island 2, all the way up until Curse of Monkey Island in 1997. So 87 to 97 basically, so 10 years for a game engine is pretty good, especially being for adventure games. So one of the things I noticed here is, if you look at the graphics and everything, if you're familiar with Monkey Island, this is actually based on the VGA version. There's an EGA version with 16 colors, which is actually really good looking. I actually almost prefer it. And then this is the VGA version. But the Sega Genesis had a limited color palette. So like this, if you look at the poster there, if you compare that to the PCA VGA version, you'll notice that there's a difference. But in the EGA version, there's like a sunset here, right off the dock that looks so much better. That's funny, Scum Bar. I feel like the font on that is actually more apparent here too, in the Sega CD version. And this actually uses Michael Land's amazing soundtrack. It uses the same soundtrack, I believe, as the PC version, so you'll hear the music once I go in here. There's our loading. So I'm actually using my mouse. So the Sega CD had a mouse attachment. So I'm emulating the mouse using my mouse, which is really handy. You could also use the controller. Oh, interesting, the cursor goes away, but I'm still able to move my mouse up and down. Now my cursor's back. I love how everyone makes fun of Guybrush's name. So his name, it's actually, it comes from Deluxe Paint, and the program Deluxe Paint that they were using to create the artwork originally, the file extension was .brush, B-R-U-S-H, and when they first made the character, they just called him Guy, so the file name was guy.brush, and the name just kind of stuck. Man, come seep good. So much better than Guybrush Threepwood. I love how Melee Island had a TM there. LucasArts is hilarious. Ron Gilbert really loved making fun of that. Just the trademarking everything. I want to be a pirate. Important looking pirates in the next room. This is actually my first time playing the Sega CD version. I've played just about every other version that exists. Although not the Atari ST version. Oh, that can be awkward when everybody has to fall in love with you. So the little icons on the lower left here, the red and green, are for the Sega CD emulator. So I actually have a full-on Sega CD, and I have the original game, but unfortunately it wasn't wanting to load, so... plus it would have been a little bit difficult to stream. I'm working on that. It's interesting that the music kind of cuts out for a second while it's loading. LeChuck. So he did. Here it is, Monkey Island TM. The Secret of Monkey Island. Title of the game. Here it is. This is the million-dollar question. What is the secret of Monkey Island? Oops, missed it. I'm gonna turn down my mouse sensitivity. Yeah, so all the pirates are just hanging out on Melee because they're afraid of LeChuck. What did happen to his eye? Contact lens. Oh, that's great. Oh, interesting. Current passcode. So that's another interesting thing about this game is that it was on the Sega CD and didn't have a saving system. So it actually used a passcode system to keep track of all of your inventory and where you are in the game. And actually, because of that, when you use a passcode, if you get any items in the game that aren't required, then it will remove them from your inventory. So the passcode only tracks important events and important necessary inventory items. Oh, backspace to warp. Okay, good to know. Thanks. Oh, my buddy Aaron's in here. What's up, Aaron? Let's see if they left the portrait in. No, okay. So you can talk to the dog here. His name is Walt, named after Walt Disney. Oh, the meat leg. Good to know. So, interestingly enough, Walt here is named after Walt Disney. It's a joke. Because I think in Pirates of the Caribbean, actually when I went to Disney, I was pumped about the ride. Because the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is what inspired Ron Gilbert to make this game. And this is probably one of my favorite games of all time. So, it's funny, at the end of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, there's a dog with keys in his mouth. Oh, even the dog uses the TM. There's a dog that has keys in his mouth that people are trying to get him, the prisoners are trying to get him to come over to bring him the keys. And that's why this dog is named Walt, in reference to Walt Disney, which is a reference to that, ride. Oh, yeah, you're right. The guy swinging from the chandelier is also gone, yeah. I guess, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I was saying earlier that the color palette is a bit different. But fun fact that in the original EGA version of the game, the original version for DOS, when you would talk to this dog, there was a portrait that would show up. It was actually a close-up of the dog, and you could see his face. The EGA version has it, and I think they brought it back for the special edition, but in this VGA version it is not there. I can't tell, Aaron. Is this running slow? I'm not sure if that scrolling is normal. Yo, Dude Drew Bacco, what up? Yeah, I want to try to figure out how to get this on a Facebook live stream at the same time. Thanks for coming to the Twitch site. I'd like to get it on Twitch and Facebook because I know some people won't end up using it. What up, man? Oops. Just streaming some Monkey Island. I'm super pumped for the show. This is one of my favorite games of all time, so I told Aaron I absolutely had to be on, so I'm trying it out. I played through the game many times, but never on the Sega CD. I own the disc, but it's not working properly. Or at least my Sega CD is not working properly. I actually read this. Oh yeah, the game's great. No pirates means no swag, and no swag means no grog, and we're running dangerously low on grog. I can hold my breath for 10 minutes. It's hilarious. So the best part about this game is definitely the dialogue. You don't become a pirate just by asking. The 3 trials! So there's every line of dialogue is just an opportunity for another joke. Which is what I love about this game. And, it's fun to try to figure out the puzzles. There's just a lot of funny references and things. The quest. The what? Treasure hunting, you sea urchin? Yes, definitely, Aaron. Yeah, it's interesting. They actually, Must drink grog with us. Grog, grog, grog. Yes, it is. Yeah, you're right, Aaron. The audio is definitely based on the MT32. So I have an MT32. Actually, Joe Mastriani from the Upper Memory Block podcast was nice enough to trade me an MT32 controller card for my DOS PC. So I have that, and I have an actual MT32, and I love it. It's amazing. But yes, it's the exact same music. So they just recorded the output of an MT32 to a Redbook Audio for those people that couldn't afford the, like, however much it was, $500 or something ridiculous for the device at the time. So everyone can enjoy the MT32 music, even if you don't have the device, since they recorded it. So we have the 3 trials now. We gotta find the Sword Master for mastering the sword. Imagine trying to take on the Sword Master without any training. Which you can actually do, it's pretty funny. Oh, I accidentally picked sword again. I meant to pick one of the other ones, sorry. Well, thanks for stopping by, man. Yeah, so actually, going back to the music, that's one of the reasons I love this game so much. And, yes, definitely happy birthday. And actually, Kazui, it's his birthday today as well as Earth Day. Yeah, we're planning on, we're smoking some ribs, and later we're going to watch some of the Lord of the Rings movies for Middle Earth Day. Oh, I love this. This is one of my favorite. Ah, darn it. I missed it. I wanted to ask him what was in the grog. It's a little tough with this, Oh, here we go. We got it. Kerosene. Propylene glycol. Artificial sweeteners. Sulfuric acid. Ooh. Rum. Acetone. Red dye number 2. Scum. Axle grease. Battery acid. And or pepperoni. Is one of the most caustic volatile substances known to man. Eats right through these mugs that the cook is losing a fortune replacing them. Oops. So, going back real quick to the music, it's one of my favorite things about this game series. And they invented the iMuse system. One of the benefits of using an actual MT32 rather than the Redbook Audio is that the music will dynamically change depending on which room you go to, and there are actually transitions that the MT32 will play a transition piece as you go from one section of the city to another, which is pretty amazing. Oh, you're right, 2, not 1. Yeah, Monkey Island 2, not 1, you're right. Which is, it's just amazing if you actually play Monkey Island 2 with an MT32. I've done it, and I would just screw around walking around Woodtick just to hear what the transitions sound like. Oops, I keep hitting enter here. Sorry about that. There we go. Yeah, I think they only did so many CD tracks. I'm thinking it's possible that there are some MT32 portions of music that didn't get recorded or don't play all the time. So the cook won't let me in the kitchen there. So I gotta figure out how to get into the kitchen. You just heard the door open there. I think that's the cook leaving the kitchen. Yep, there it is. Oops. Well, that's interesting. It's some sort of meat or meat-like substance. There's a pot here I can take. I love the picture of the Pillsbury Doughboy over there. I think it's full of that foul stuff pirates drink. Yeah, I don't think you have to stew the meat. I think you only have to stew the fish. I love that. Oh, really? I love that it's actually a red herring. And there's another joke, too, when we actually get to where you give it to the troll, which is great. I don't remember... I don't think there's any point system or anything in the background of this one. There is in Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. You can get IQ points, and it will track points, and I imagine something like stewing the fish here would get you extra points, maybe. It's also interesting that they ported the Scum engine for the Sega CD, but they only ever actually used one game. Like, they probably could have easily done Monkey Island 2 and the other games. Yeah, I think you can... The only way to die in this game is if you actually wait more than 10 minutes, because he says he can hold his breath for 10 minutes, which is hilarious. Meanwhile, deep beneath Monkey Island, the ghost pirate LeChuck ship lies anchored in a river of lava. Oh, interesting, you don't die in the Sega CD version. Okay. I love this scene. And I love that LeChuck is like partially transparent. The graphics are amazing. I actually prefer the EGA version graphics a little bit more in most of the scenes. In this one, I think the floorboards are outlined in blue. I think it just looks scarier, which is kind of cool. And I think the even the underworld with the lava just looks a little better. And I love that this character, I forget his name, that line right there, if you play the special edition, the character, or the actor that reads the lines for his first mate here is the voice of Leonardo from Ninja Turtles, which is great. Oh no, is it? No, it's Raphael, Rob Paulson, I think. Oh yeah, definitely EGA version. You have to try it. It's amazing. And you can actually get a patch for the EGA version that will make it work with the MT32, so you can get kind of the best of both worlds, MT32 and EGA graphics. And you can also, if you have the special edition, you can play the VGA version with VGA graphics and the MT32 and have the voiceover lines play with ScumVM. It's called the Ultimate Talkie version, which is very cool. That's probably one of the best ways to play it. I just wish that they had an Ultimate Talkie version for EGA, but unfortunately they don't. Although, according to Ron Gilbert, I think I messaged him on Twitter, and I asked him about the music. I asked him, what's the definitive version of the game and the game music? And the definitive version of the game was of the music, he said was actually Sound Blaster, because that's what they heard. Oh, wow. I don't remember that guy in yellow in the PC version. That's interesting. I remember people walking by, but not that guy in that bright yellow suit. But yeah, Ron Gilbert was saying they would hear the music on Sound Blaster because nobody really could afford the MT32 at the time. So the music that he heard and approved and everything was Sound Blaster rather than the MT32, which is interesting. So. And you can actually do with ScumVM, there's an option to have Sound Blaster and MT32 combined in Monkey Island 2. And, nice rat. Oh, I hit enter again. If you do Sound Blaster and MT32 combined in Monkey Island 2, while you're in the swamp, you can actually hear the bats squeaking and the MT32 music at the same time. Oh, cool. A crew of a bunch of rats crewed a ship to Monkey Island. No, that's not right. It was actually a group of monkeys. That's another joke that goes on throughout the series. Oh yeah, it's great. Actually, they were chimps. There's actually another thing that was cut out that we'll see here in a second. I'll have to see if I can find the article. There was a really cool... Oops, I keep doing that. There was a really cool website where they compared all the different versions of Monkey Island. And I'll have to see if I can find the webpage when we go to record for the show, because there's a lot of really interesting trivia there. Birdcage liners. The animations here are great. They're actually copies of the minutes from the last meeting of the Melee Island PTA. We can't even give them away. You want one? I love that there's no option to actually take them unless they pay you, which is great. I'll take one if you give me 2 pieces of 8. Okay, that's fair. No, we're a wandering circus trip. But this rat scared away the elephant. Of course we're pirates. You can't buy clothes like these off the rack. I love that. Oh, this is one of my other favorite jokes in the game here. What's in the keg? Jam, rum. Rum, jam. Rum and jam. It's an old pirate favorite. Everybody knows that. It's funny that it's always 10 o'clock. Does it move? I don't remember. I'm thinking that the clock never moves, but we'll see. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's just interesting that they, unnaturally talented pirates. It's weird that they ported the Scum engine to Sega CD and then just never ported any of the other games. They probably could have done that with minimal effort. Obviously, you know, they did have to reduce some of the things from the PC version to make it work on the Sega CD, but I think they could have made it run just as good, but they probably just didn't take the time to do it. But it would have been cool to see, you know, Maniac Mansion and Monkey Island 2. Oh, they did? Oh, that would have made sense. Oh, Monkey Island 1 didn't sell well. That's interesting. I wonder if it was that, was it Monkey Island that didn't sell well? Was it because people that had the system didn't buy the game? Or was it just that there weren't enough people with a Sega CD to buy it? So this right here, this statue. No thanks, I'd rather not touch any of this creepy. So this statue right here, in the EGA version, this whole room is different. In this statue here, it actually had to be changed. Well, I don't know if it had to be changed, but they did change it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, and I forgot, yeah, the EGA version actually had all text. Here we go. So it looks like dustbin.mixandmojo.co. They have a bunch of pictures there of the EGA version, which I really love. But this statue in the background here, they made a joke about a bodybuilder. And I can't remember who it was, but they made some joke about a bodybuilder here with this statue. I think he was holding a globe or something like that. But they removed it. They removed the joke for some reason. I can't remember why. And here she is. The unnamed voodoo lady. Guybrush nose hair. No. 3-port. I love the little steam or whatever. The effect of the fumes coming out of the water looks really good. I love that. Yeah, it probably would have been. Yeah, Sega CD was pretty much dead by that point. 94, 95. Yeah. It's just too bad. Yeah, I wonder why it didn't sell well. I don't know, maybe it wasn't marketed very well. I like the green in her outfit, it really stands out, it's pretty awesome. Oh, here we go. Just the artwork is absolutely amazing in this game. I see you inside the giant monkey. Gross. You will see things better left unseen. You will hear things better left unheard. You will learn things better left unlearned. What kinds of things? I'm wondering how long it actually took this game to get released on Sega CD versus the PC version. We'll have to look at that. Because I think this version came out in '92. For the PC, I mean. I don't know when it came out for the Sega CD. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think the original was 90 and CD was 92. I think you're right. Sega CD was early 93. Okay, that's not too bad, but... Okay, yeah, the clock has not changed. Oh, I almost forgot. One of my favorite items in the game. I forgot to pick it up. The graphics are still a little dark. Oops. She's not there. Hello? Guess no one's here. Huh. I don't remember her being gone in the PC version, but maybe... Walk to chicken. We'll get chicken. I just love that they call out that it couldn't possibly be useful, but he still takes it. Like just poking fun at adventure games where there are things that seem really useful and the character just like refuses to pick it up, which is hilarious. Yeah, this is another scene that I really think just looks better in the EGA version, but still looks nice. Hey, you, come over here. You know, bad things could happen to a person in a dark, deserted alley like this one. And at this time of night, no one would be around to see it. I love this line. Bad things happen to people who sneak up behind other people from behind. Gabbers 3, mighty parrots. Peapwood. Fester Shine Top. Guessing like Uncle Fester because he's bald, and Shine Top because he's bald. Apparently my dog wants some attention here. Alright, Roxy. Calm down now. Yeah, I love that it's LeChuck. They never really explain like how he's able to make himself look not undead. So apparently appearing undead is just his preference. It's Otis. I'm a victim of society, not to mention halitosis. It's hard to keep my breath minty fresh when there's nothing to eat in here but rats. Really? You released the rat? I didn't know you could do that. Interesting. I had no idea you could. Is it the same method that you use to free Otis? Nice. Interesting. I feel like the color on this scene is very brown. I kind of like it. Just interesting to see what they did with the different palette choices here with the Sega CD. I could really use a breath mint. You're telling me. Here, take one. Take the whole roll. Yeah, they're definitely a bit more muted in this version. I thought you could display 256 colors at once with, or no, was it 64 colors at once with the Sega? Maybe that's why. Yeah, I think there was some limitation. It's just kind of neat though that they were still able to make the game playable on the Sega because of the CD. It's just something that you could never do on the Super Nintendo. So I think it's really cool. One of the other strange things is Loom actually got a port. Yeah, simultaneous on-screen 64 to 512. Okay, that makes sense. Because VGA is 256, so it's got half of the, I guess, half of the available colors as to what the original PC version did. But to be honest, I mean, for half, looks really good. But yeah, they actually ported Loom to the TurboGrafx 16, which is interesting. Loom came out in 1990 as well, and it was basically on the same version of the SCUM engine as the original Monkey Island. So it's interesting that they probably could have ported the EGA version to the Sega CD, but I guess because of the way the music was, it probably just made sense, and a lot of people would think that this version might look better, but it's interesting that they didn't port Loom to the Sega CD, but they put it on the TurboGrafx. And then also that the TurboGrafx didn't get any other games. At least not that I know of. I love that map music for Melee Island. I love this music so much in all of the Monkey Island games. Usually if when we go on vacation, if we're somewhere with a beach, I always have to bring out my phone and play Monkey Island music while I'm just resting on the beach. I can listen to it. And they also removed the stump joke, which the stump joke is hilarious. The stump joke is here in the forest. There's a tree stump that you can, I think you climb into it, and when you climb into it, there's a little notification that pops on the screen and asks you to put in another disc. I don't remember how many discs originally came with the game, but let's say there were 5. It would ask you to insert disc number 6 or 12 or something ridiculous, and as a joke. And you could exit the notification there. But the LucasArts support line actually got so many phone calls because people didn't realize that it was a joke, that they had to remove it, which is pretty hilarious. I think they bring the stump joke back in Monkey Island 3. Or at least they refer to it. Yeah, there's just a few things in the EGA version that got cut that I really like. Yeah, it's kind of funny with Maniac Mansion. There were a few things that got changed in the Nintendo port. But the funniest thing is that I think there was like a mummy calendar like in the mansion, and it was made to look like Playboy or something. But I think it was all wrapped up or something, and Nintendo made them remove that. But you can still microwave the hamster in the Nintendo version, which is hilarious. You'd think that would have been the thing they removed. I'm Gabrish Throughput. I've come to kill you. Nothing like being honest. So we need a sword to fight the sword master, and we actually need to be trained too. The port notes. Are you talking the port notes for this game? Love this music. So I think, yeah, now we have the Sword Masters available as a location. Oh, Maniac Mansion, yeah. It's also weird that there's a Japanese port of Maniac Mansion for the NES, but like the graphics are totally different. I think they might have even rewritten the game. Oh, here we go. So this is great. There's a troll saying we can't pass. I could insult anybody, you dumb doppelganger. I once had a dog that was smarter than you. Take that and stick it in your repertoire. So this is probably one of my favorite jokes in the game. So in order to get this troll out of your way, you actually have to give him a red herring, which is hilarious. And it's even funnier once you realize who the troll is. Here we go. No one's looking? It's the man himself, George Lucas. And he just used the Force to pick up his club. I love how Guybrush turns and sees it and then turns away. It's actually kind of funny, like, thinking of George Lucas as the troll. It's even funnier now because with the whole episode 1 thing, some people would say that he is a troll. Stan's previously owned vessels. I love the grog machine. It's like such a perfect copy of a Coke machine. But I didn't actually mean to go here yet. Oh yeah, yeah. I was wanting to go to the circus. Where's the circus? I think it's in the clearing. It's just so funny, like, I thought the lights were where the circus was, but no. It's the gaudy, used ship emporium. Do they even still have circuses anymore? I know a lot of them got shut down. Oh wow, that text is hard to read. Yeah, definitely pretty rough on the color palette in here. Guybrush almost looks yellow. His face is like the same color as the ground. I definitely highly recommend the... Oh, that's funny, the music paused there while it was populating the dialogue menu. Oh, I'm selling these fine leather jackets. That is actually another joke that runs through, I think, almost every single Scum game. That's actually from Indiana Jones and the... Indiana Jones... and the third movie, jeez. Why am I blanking on this? Last Crusade. There we go. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Last Crusade was another one that they made a game for. So it was being developed, I think, close to around the same time as Monkey Island. And it's a point-and-click adventure game. And in it, when you're inside the big Nazi mansion, you're trying to sneak around. And you can pretend to be selling leather jackets. So that's where that joke comes from. Wow, that was interesting. You could barely see what Guybrush said before he responded. 478 pieces of 8. That's a very specific amount, but... Oops, hit enter again. Have you got a helmet? Of course I have a helmet. What sort of idiot do you take me for? Well, let's have it. Yeah, it's interesting. Guybrush's dialogue is getting overwritten really quick there. So this is actually a puzzle that you use the pot as a helmet. It's awesome. It's not even padded or anything. It's probably harder than whatever you would actually run into with your head. Man, that text is really hard to read. Echo! Echo! It works. I'm so relieved. I love this too. The dialogue is upside down. So you can either say, "Where's my helmet?" or "I'm Bobbin. Are you my mother?" Which, that is a reference to Loom, another LucasArts adventure game. Which I've actually not really played through. Yeah, I'm curious. I'll have to see if I can get my Sega CD working, and play it on my CRT TV. Yeah. I'm going to turn up my brightness on my monitor, actually. There we go. Now we have 479 pieces of 8, because we still have one left over from when they paid us to take the PTA minutes. Yeah, and even, it's interesting, if you look like on Guybrush here, he almost looks like yellow, like he's got pit stains or something going on, and on his legs. Kind of looks like he has urine going down his socks there. And I'm wondering if his sprite will look differently once we move to another area. Alright, so we have the money, so let's go back to the village. It's cool how Sprite scales as he's getting closer. Yeah, see, he doesn't have the yellow anymore on his socks or on his shirt, so it's definitely had to do with the palette, which is interesting. I mean, that you would have to change a character sprite like that. I wonder how much work that was. I guess, yeah, actually that would make it a lot harder to port the games, because you couldn't just port the game as it was. You'd have to make sure that the color palettes were translated properly. I mean, you don't get any crazy colors for graphics in the game, so I guess you may actually have to look at every room in the game to make sure that that it translated well. Hey, where'd you go? Like halfway across the island to try to find your reservation with the Sword Master? Who, by the way, says you can jump in the lake. And I come back and you're gone. See if I ever do you a favor again. And if you've not played the special edition of that, it's great. Of this game, it's great. You can play with updated graphics or these VGA PC graphics. But it also has the voiceover, which is great. They have and it's the same voice actor for Monkey Island from 3 and Tales. Dominic Armato, I think. They hired him again, and he did the voice for Guybrush as well. And the voice actor for the shopkeeper is actually pretty funny. I hear it in my head now. Every time I play without it, I can still hear it. Sword. Slash Master. When you want a sword as sharp as your wit. Slash Master TM. Yeah, you're right. They didn't really use the iMuse system in the special edition of Monkey Island 2. I think part of that is because the engine would just send different code to the MT32 or to the Sound Blaster system, and I'm guessing that they didn't really implement like emulation for those. They're just playing newly recorded tracks. So I'm guessing that's why, because I don't think they really. It would be hard to record dynamic transitions. But yeah, I think the new artwork though, in Monkey Island 2 Special Edition, is definitely a lot better than the modern artwork for Monkey Island 1 Special Edition. They're both pretty good, and I do enjoy them both, but I feel like they did a better job on the second one. I feel like there was a third thing I wanted to buy in here, but I don't remember. I already got the breath mints. Oops, I keep doing that. $100 pieces of 8 for a shovel, or for a sword, and a shovel. We'll pay for it. So we'll deliver 75 pieces of 8 in no time. But hey, save some treasure for the rest of us, will you? I love that you can close the door. They didn't have to do that. Sometimes it's the little things. Okay, so now we have a sword. We definitely need to beat the Sword Master. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Hey everybody! I just realized I didn't have my webcam on, so... Nope, where'd it go? Sorry. There we are. There we go. Cool. On to the Swordmaster. I know that I need to get trained before I fight the Swordmaster, but I'm tempted to go and try to fight her without training, just to see what they say. That's kind of part of the game that I just love exploring, to see if I can find any other jokes or funny dialogue lines, because the game is really, to me, it's just about trying to enjoy yourself, explore the world, and find all the little jokes and things that that Gary Winnick and Ron Gilbert just kind of hid in the game. It looks like we have another viewer. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Yes, yeah, the insult sword fighting system is so great. That's actually what most people remember most about this game. But when I was doing the 3 trials, they said no one would be dumb enough to try to fight the Swordmaster without getting training first. So I want to prove that Guybrush could be dumb enough to do that, and I'm guessing that she'll say something funny to me. But yes, then we need to go to the sword trainer and get trained. And they kind of hinted at that when they said that your sword needs to be as razor sharp as your wit. And LucasArts games just have a different, I guess, approach. In LucasArts games, generally you can't die. They're more relaxed. You never get penalized for exploring the environment. And there aren't really any action sequences that require... I guess a lot of hand-eye coordination. Like in the Sierra games, they would have sometimes arcade sequences where you had to do things quickly. No idea why the Swordmaster flashes her. You mean her? Why it brings up her face? I'm selling these fine leather jackets. Oh, she flashes green. Did I miss it? Huh, when you're further away. Okay, I'll have to look out for that. You're here to prove yourself to the pirate leaders in hopes of one day being as immoral as they are. Yep, nailed it right on the head. Gee, you're smart. What was your final grade in Captain Smirk's sword fighting class? Grade? Class? You mean you came here to take on the Swordmaster of Melee Island, possibly the greatest sword fighter in the entire Caribbean? without a single lesson in the art of fencing? Yep. Obviously not with your razor sharp wit. I'd advise you to seek out Captain Smirk. It would hardly be ethical, sporting, or even interesting to fight someone as unskilled as yourself. So beat it. Oh, you're wondering why she, like, here, why she's flashing? Because I'm assuming she's like, that's supposed to be her spinning around and practicing her sword fighting. It is that way on the PC as well. Yeah. I like the little Sega CD loading icon thing in there in the emulator. That's pretty cool. So now we need to get trained, which I think is here. Oh, that's great. Good. She should. It's one of the best games of all time. Yeah, Aaron, if you're interested in the Ultimate Talkie version for PC, it's kind of a pain in the butt to make. So I did it myself. I took the game files, I took my disc of the special edition, extracted it all, and packaged it all up. So if you want Monkey Island 1 or 2, if you want a prepackaged version with the talkie stuff built in, I can hook you up with that, because it's kind of a pain to do. And I've already got it done, so... Yeah, and it's fun to hear the voices and have them read to you, especially for a kid. Okay, yeah. Can we step inside? It's a little chilly out here. Do you know where the Sword Master lives? Could you please put out that cigar? Can we step inside? What did you say? I said it's a little chilly out here. You're right. I could catch a cold. That's great. I've actually never chose that dialogue option before. Yeah, he's just like, oh, deuces. It's hilarious. He always reminded me of Duke Nukem. I love this. You don't have what it takes. I do so have what it takes. You do not. I do so. You do not. I do so. I like your spirit. I'll do what I can. Of course, it'll cost you. Did you see my sign? I usually charge 30 pieces of 8 for a big job like this one. What have you got? All I have is this dead chicken. Is that one of those rubber chickens with a pulley in the middle? I've already got one. Say no more, say no more. Let's see your sword. Yeah, that would definitely would have been great if they had ported it to the Commodore. Have you ever seen the post-mortem for Maniac Mansion that they did? The GDC video Ryan Gilbert did? It's amazing when they talk about everything they had to do to make Maniac Mansion work on the Commodore. Just like creating a game engine, let alone, on a Commodore 64, but then just tackling all the challenges. It's amazing. He even explains like why their heads are so big and stuff. Yeah, it's great. There's another LucasArts post-mortem where they talk about Habitat. It was going to be the first online community where you'd have an avatar. I think it used some of the Maniac Mansion game code because it looked similar. It looked amazing. It's only because I feel that special student mentor pieces of 8 bonding. I love that line. I'm going to these lengths. Oh! I don't remember that sound effect before when he said the machine. I wonder if they added that for the Sega CD version. I don't remember it on PC. Did Habitat actually get released, or was it canceled? And I don't know what Snow Crash is. Oh, Habitat was released. Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. I thought it was canceled. I would love to see like an actual copy of that running. That would be great. I don't know if they still have servers somewhere. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I loved the Cyberpunk 2020 role-playing game. I played that a lot. That was awesome. That's one of the reasons why I like Shadowrun so much, because it reminds me of that. Imagine this. We're fighting up a storm, just like Carlisle and I were at Port Royal. There's a sudden break in the fighting, and I say to you, you fight like a dairy farmer. I love this one. What do you respond with? So's your mother? I'm confused. I'm not a farmer. I can see we have a lot of work to do here. You should have responded with something like, how appropriate, you fight like a cow. You see? Razor sharp wit like that wins fights. So yeah, this is really cool. Like I was saying earlier, LucasArts didn't really want to make it hard for people to play. They wanted to make sure anyone could enjoy it. So instead of actually having to fight, like in an arcade sequence, you can just choose dialogue options. So you actually use your wit to come up with insult responses, which is also, it's hilarious. And I really like, so you kind of learn through memorization and just reading. You read through the dialogue options and you kind of figure out what response matches the insult. And then when you fight the Sword Master, it's not just memorization. You actually have to read the options and try to figure out what would fit her insults, because her insults are different than all the other ones that you learn as you're practicing. I can't help but feel like I've been ripped off. I'm sure you're feeling something similar. I love when they break the fourth wall. It's great. Yeah. What? I can go check. Well, I think I'm going to take an intermission here, gentlemen. So 3077 is my passcode. I'll try to save the state, but just in case. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to stop and have some lunch. Some smoked ribs on Middle Earth Day. Maybe watch The Hobbit. File, save state. Save state as. Alrighty. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I'll be back on, I don't know, maybe later tonight or another day. We'll see how far we get. And check out Genesis Gems. Later.